Politics and current affairs issues may sound casual when it's discussed by the wrong persons in the wrong circle. But with Dimeji Daniels, the discussion can only get more interesting. The analysis, the interviews, the findings, the details, the actions, the argument, the hot seat. Only on one show, The Roundtable. Join Dimeji Daniels on Adaba 88.9 FM every Mondays between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. as he tackles matters arising in the news and political space with his prolific guests discussing issues of politics and current affairs. The Roundtable with Dimeji Daniels. Let the conversation begin.
Kankara is bleeding. Bandits is too much. Katsina State is bleeding. We want that. We want our children. We want our children. We want our children.
Okay, those were the parents of the kids who were abducted in Government Science Secondary School, Kankara. The school with a population of 839 students was invaded on Friday around 9:40 p.m. on Friday. And according to the Katsina State Governor, that is Aminu Bello Masari, 333 of those students are yet to be accounted for. Let's listen to Masari.
We appreciate the concern shown by the President and Commander-in-Chief by authorizing your coming here to sympathize with the people of Katsina State, the parents, teachers, and the Ministry of Education of Katsina State. The children so far kidnapped cut across the state because the school is a boarding school. It houses all children from all parts of the state and some even from outside the state. It has a population of 839 and so far we are yet to account for 333 pupils and we are still counting because more are coming out of the forest and we are calling through the numbers, those parents that have numbers, to find out whether their children have gone back home. Because
so one of the students who were abducted on Friday, 18-year-old Osama Amin Omale, said 520 of them were abducted. He knew this because he said they made them do a head count inside the buses. So he said one of the gunmen hit me repeatedly while I failed to keep up with the rest of the group due to my failing health before he let me trail behind, giving me the chance to escape. Well, that same Friday, President Buhari arrived Katsina on a private visit to his hometown, that is Daura. The presidential plane convened President Buhari to Katsina arrived the Umaru Musa Yaradua airport around 4:30 p.m. and the president was, transported to Daura in an Air Force helicopter around 4:55 p.m. Fast forward to 9:40 p.m. That's around 5 hours later. The Government Science Secondary School in Kankara, which is about 2 hours 37 minutes drive from Daura, was invaded and the students were adopted. This afternoon we will be talking about this. We'll also be talking about the inability of the president. Is that the right word to use? Well, I'm not sure. His inability to show up before the National Assembly to address a joint session of the National Assembly as he promised last week. Because up till now, there's been no official statement from the presidency on why he was not at the National Assembly on that Thursday, except the press statement we read from Malami where he said that the National Assembly does not have power, constitutional power, to summon the President of Nigeria. We'll also be talking about that as well on this program. And of course, the abduction in Kankara. Don't forget that there was the Chibok abduction. We're yet to get all of them back. There was Dapchi, and now there is Kankara, the home state of the President president. Now the hashtag is bring back our boys. It used to be bring back our girls. Now it's bring back our boys. Let me welcome my studio guest this afternoon, Barrister Benson and Enikuomehin. You're welcome on the program.
It's a pleasure being here.
Also with me on the program this afternoon, Zadok, Akintoye. You're welcome on the program.
Mr. Demeji, it's a pleasure being here.
And then in the course of the program, I had telephone interviews with the vice chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence. That is Honorable Adejoro Adeogun. He is also from Ondo State. I think it represents Akoko Southeast and Akoko Southwest federal constituency here in Ondo State. I had a telephone interview with. I also spoke with Kola Ologbondiyan, the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP. You will be hearing that on this program. Now, of course, a security expert. But before I turn to my guest, let's listen to the security expert, Abu Adams, as he makes sense of what just happened.
It appears that every week in Nigeria, we are bedeviled with one security issue or the other. About 2 weeks ago, we're talking about the killing of the farmers in Zabamari in Borno State. And then now, on Friday, school kids were kidnapped in Katsina, the home state of Mr. President. How do you feel about all of these security issues?
Well, the issue is not new again. We have been talking about the inadequacies of our arrangements over the years. I mean, and that is what is staring us on the face. We did say that our fighting forces have been overwhelmed by the rate at which banditry, terrorism, and other violent crimes have expanded in Nigeria. And hitherto, we have not been doing enough to empower, let me use that word, empower the fighting forces by way of capacity building, logistics, and technology backup for so that is why we are seeing what we are seeing. They have seen that we are weak in every area of our operation. I mean, so today you might be facing them in the northeast. They know that the stamina in the northwest is not strong. They will be there. They will look at north central. They are so sophisticated in their planning and strategy, and I don't think we are matching strategy by strategy. I think that is why we are here.
Since those school kids were kidnapped, we've been getting different figures as to the number of kids who were actually kidnapped. Why do you think that has been? Why are we not able to come up with an appropriate figure?
The way we have not been able to come up with appropriate figure may be due to various, very many factors. Prominent among which the school management may, or even the government, in order not to scare people, might want to play it down so that other schools will not be frightened. And of course, if you know the objective of terrorism, that is what they want. They want people to be frightened so that they can have their way with ease. I think this somehow. Do we even have adequate, the issue of adequate data in this country? Not maybe particularly what is the population of the school, they need to do roll call and things like that. That is why we are having conflicting figures.
We're still battling with the issue of Chibok girls who were kidnapped. That she is still on the card. And then now, schoolboys. Why do you think these people continue to target schools? We would understand in the case of schoolgirls, but what about schoolboys?
This is an organization that is very much interested. Their basic philosophy is or strategy is to radicalize the younger ones who will be the backbone of their fighting forces in the future. So in most cases, they target them. They are easily radicalized, and they can easily be directed to do what they want, as against a mature person who at every point in time he must be looking for a way of escaping out of their camp. So Apart from that, they also know that the security around those students are porous, not enough. Of course, we cannot provide, soldiers or police for every school in Nigeria. So that is why it is their target.
Some people have come up with a law, not just today. People have been banning a lot of solutions. Some people have talked about state policing. Some have talked about the sacking of the service chiefs. Do you think any of these have anything to do with would amount to anything in ensuring security in Nigeria?
Well, let me take on the service chiefs. I've said it several times in other forums that if they give you a job to do and the people you are serving are saying that you are not serving them well, why do you even need to wait for you to be removed? Why don't you live on your own and let them bring whoever you think can do it? I think that is my opinion. In my opinion, with the cries about them being removed and they believing they are doing their best, it's just that their best is not enough, they should live on their own. And if you look at the solutions people are providing, like the governor of Borno State wants their indigenes recruited into the army. Now, if you recruit them into the army and we win the war, what do you do with them?
Well, you just listening to Abu Adams, a security expert. Well, on Saturday, I forgot to mention that the president put out a statement that, saying the military had located the kidnappers in the forest, that is Zangopol Forest in Kankara, and was exchanging fire with them, gunfire with them. We also knew that the Inspector General of Police mobilized resources, more men to join in the rescue operation of the abducted kids. Well, my name is Dimeji Daniels, and I'm welcoming you to the Roundtable for this week on Adaba 8.9 FM. Let me turn to Mr. Zadok. I ask one of the questions I asked Mr. Abu, why do you think because I don't want to say Boko Haram now, because they have not come out to take responsibility for this. Why do you think they keep attacking the schools, eating the schools? We had the issue of Chibok, we had the issue of Dapchi, and now Kankara in President Buhari's own state. And why do you think they did that? They ensured that coincided with the president's private visit to his own state. What message do you think they were trying to send? Because some people have said that they were definitely trying to send a message.
I wouldn't want to assume that their planning was deliberate to coincide with the president's a visit to his hometown. It could be, and it could be planned. But I want to say that in warfare, you hit your enemy where he's most vulnerable. And the most vulnerable part of Nigeria now are the ordinary citizens. Even much more, our children, our women, and those who are physically disabled. And so if you want to send a strong message that you are not coming for negotiation, you are coming for full-scale destruction of your opponent. You hit him where he's most vulnerable. His home, his family, his house, his children, and things like that. And so Nigeria's children, which are our children in secondary schools, have become soft targets for the enemy. They also know that if you hold a man where he is most likely to be pained, you are going to force him to his knees. And so what they are doing is looking at small, soft targets, pick them in mass numbers where rescue will be more difficult, because if you are talking about the kidnap of maybe 2, 3, or 4 people now, violent rescue may be an option. But when you are talking about 500, 600, you are talking about massive casualties in a case where there's gunfire. They are probably going to use the children as human shield.
Yeah.
And so, whichever way you look at it, your country is on its knees, because if you go to rescue and children are killed, the country will be blamed. If you don't go to rescue, the country will still be blamed. So they've seen, I believe, that they have seen the vulnerability of Nigeria at the moment, and the fact that there are no clear leadership. And so what they are doing is to keep hitting Nigeria where it is most vulnerable. Unfortunately, this incident is just one of the new culture of insecurity that pervades the entire Nigerian society. Even I am not feeling secure in my own country. And so that becomes an issue. I think also that the war against insurgency in Nigeria is not a defined war. We are not fighting against a defined nation or a country. We are fighting against probably disgruntled elements within the Nigerian system who have taken up the option of preying on that lack of security in Nigeria by hitting Nigeria where Nigeria will pay. You remember the American government keeps saying that they don't negotiate with terrorists. But Nigeria has no option because it doesn't have the firepower, the capacity, the intelligence, the reconnaissance capacity to, be able to protect its citizens even within its own shores. So it is forced to keep negotiating. And government is going to keep saying that security issues are private issues. We are not going to declare it in public. The simple reason being that some people may be constantly collecting money from government for the withdrawal, the release of these children. And so once you create a culture of criminality, and that culture of criminality becomes beneficial to those who are promoting it, it becomes something like what we are seeing at the moment. There are people praying. The Boko Haram issue could even just be an economic war, where some feel that the more vulnerable, the more destabilized Nigerians, the more money may make, and they may not be outsiders, they may even be Nigerians. That's why if you hear incidents of people that have been kidnapped, you will hear, for instance, within the Southwest.
Do you think in any way, because some people have made insinuations that in a way that Dix could also have, international, what would I call it? That the Boko Haram itself and the banditry or kidnapping down south may have international outlook as well. That there may be people outside the country who are non-Nigerians who may be funding this to destabilize the nation.
I would answer that by saying this. Most often, Nigeria keeps trying to play Big Brother in Africa. It's not a big brother to anybody. I think that external forces who understand the security architecture of Nigeria and the fact that it's a porous environment where you can come in without, there are no data, no police, nothing to watch you, can come into Nigeria, stay in their safe haven in their countries, whether it's in France or Chad or Niger or wherever they are, stay safe in those countries and finance organizations here that kidnap people to collect money. And massive look at the case of the gentleman the criminal that was sentenced to death recently. I've forgotten his name. The kidnapper Evans. That was an individual living ostentatiously within society as if he had some valid businesses, some legal businesses, whereas in fact under his business was kidnap and racketeering. And so that scenario seems to be playing out in Nigeria, either with international collaborators funding herdsmen, funding non-Nigerians. I don't want to use the word herdsmen, lest we try to be myopic about it being an issue between the Fulanis and us. But those who are coming to Nigeria to perpetrate this thing and staying comfortably in our bushes, some of them are non-Nigerians, because you would expect an average Nigerian to at least understand simple good morning. You see these people speaking French. And so the security agencies are to begin to look at the porosity of our borders, our neighbors.
When you say French, are you implying that they are from Francophone countries?
Absolutely, because I've heard incidents where people have said that they were kidnapped. I've also read about it, and that these people did not even understand any of our local languages and could not even speak English, which means, and that in the conversation that they were having, they were speaking French. And so you begin to wonder how nationals of some of these our neighboring countries. That's why I started this comment by saying that Nigeria does not have a business playing Big Brother to any country in Africa, because our primary responsibility is to Nigerians first. We don't have any business looking for the good of Cameroon, Chad, Niger, anybody. Our first responsibility is to secure Nigeria for Nigeria.
Before I turn to Dr. Benson and Enikuomehin, just a quick one. Is there anything we can do? Because I know in some countries it is done, where the schools are kept safe in terms of perimeter fencing and all of that, where we increase the security in the schools, especially the primary and the post-primary schools.
Obviously, we could, attend some feeble responses like fencing. Fencing does not hold back an army. For instance, if you've seen videos of Boko Haram, for instance, attacking a community, it's a massive onslaught. It's not something that you can hold back with fence. University of Maiduguri had fence around it. So it's not just about fencing. It's about first having a holistic security for Nigeria. If you are not a Nigerian, you must be documented. You can't be working in Nigeria without documents. We don't even know how many foreigners are here. And some of these foreigners, in the guise of bringing in cattle through the northeastern and northwestern corridor, just walk from these African countries into Nigeria as if they are here. Some of them come here and settle in the north, whereas their ancestral homeland is probably in Niger.
And over time they become Nigerians.
And over time they become Nigerians, and they could even aspire to lead the rest of us.
Okay, let me turn to Dr. Benson Enikuomehin. One of the things that people have said in terms of our approach to the insecurity in Nigeria is that we're not doing well in the area of intelligence capabilities. How do you, what advice, what suggestions would you offer to government on how to improve our intelligence capabilities?
I do not know how I will be offering pieces of advice to people who are against being advised.
Why do you say so?
Here is a government that, when it was coming on board, gave us 3 cardinal objectives of the administration. And security is one of the pivot things that this government mentioned. Corruption and all that. For every government, the primary purpose of every government is to secure life and property. It is only when your life is secure you can be doing business. It's only when your life is secure you can be talking of any other thing. And I'm sad that at the helm of affairs of this country is a man who is a general in the army. If you have an accountant in a bank and he does not know how to add 5 naira plus 6 naira to make 11 naira, then you wonder, if you bring somebody who has read history, what will he do? If a general is in charge of this country, a retired general, a former head of state, military head of state, and these things are happening at the door of his steps, and all we have to say is to be talking about Niger, Cameroon, and all that. It makes no sense to me. People in this country over time have said, come, the quality of men that we have used as your security
chiefs, service chiefs,
whether service or not service, whatever name they are expired drugs. Do away with them.
Let's not use those words. Yeah.
Sorry, my brother. The truth of the matter is, there was a time in this country, and even up to now, if we send our football team to international matches, and the first round, the country was beating 8-0. The second match, 10-0. The next match, maybe the third match, is 14-0. What will we be asking for? We call for the head of the coach. In fact, the tongue lashing before, in fact, the coach will not return to this country. The players will from there go to their various locations. And if we do that in sport, what about the lives of people? Come on. You ask me, say, please don't use it Don't use that language. Good. Of what use have they been to us now?
You think they've not done enough?
They have done terribly bad. Was it not only cheap?
What about claims that they are not well armed? The general who was demoted, I don't know if you saw that video. The man who was demoted talked about how that video that he made, for which he was demoted, the video that was leaked, talked about how Boko Haram overpowered them. Even though he said they were not running, they were not retreating, but he talks about the firepower of Boko Haram. Would you place that blame on their doorstep as well, or the government?
You see, I have said somebody is in charge of the affair of this country. Whatever it takes to muster resources to fight Boko Haram, it lies at the doorstep of the person who is at the helm of affairs. And if you are putting enough money and you are not having result, for goodness sake, do away with those persons who are there. I don't want a situation where we begin to blame service chief or blame chief service and all that. I'm not interested in it.
There even be claims that some countries are not willing to sell arms to Nigeria.
For goodness sake, were you not in this country? We were all here when, at the beginning of this administration, or before they came in, that countries like America and all that came and they wanted to aid. They said what they were seeing in this country shows that we were not serious about it. Sir, not too long ago, these Boko Haram characters went to Niger or so and did something funny. The head of state or the president of Niger led the troop and came and rescued these people. Maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, or less than that, an American
was abducted.
Just one. America left so many kilometers,
sending their SEAL operatives.
so many kilometers, came via whatever, took permission from us, went to wherever these rascals are, picked the, what do you call it, the American citizen, and left. Hey, are we saying that those ones know our country more than us? What are we talking about?
So what do you think is wrong?
Everything is wrong with the head and with the tail. Everything is wrong. There is no sincerity in the fight against Boko Haram. There is no sincerity about it. We have located, or we have said they are mainly in Sambisa forest, in what do you call it? In
Borno State.
In Borno State. Let's ask the following question. This Sambisa forest, what does it take for us to ransack that forest? If Sambisa is in Borno State, it means Sambisa is not as big as Borno State. It's a faction of Borno State. There are local governments that are not in Sambisa. What does it take by reason of AM mapping, raid, and all that to locate Sambisa? 2, are there people, civilians, who are ordinarily resident in Sambisa? If the answer is yes, is there any way we can get them out? But if the answer is no, is it a bad idea to wipe the entire Sambisa forest out? The whole forest, wipe it out, and there's no more forest. It becomes ordinary land. So we are playing game. I don't think the country is serious. And this is why these guys are this emboldened. Oh, we have done it in Borno State. They could as well go to attack a governor.
Now, if you look at just because of our time, if you look at what happened in Chibok, how they were able to kidnap, that number of girls, and they did that successfully, and then it happened again in Dapchi, and then last Friday, that high number of schoolboys. What does it say about our response? The response of our security agencies?
These guys who are bandits and name them, they don't live in the moon. They are here on planet Earth, and they are here in Nigeria. What it tells me is that there is little or no hope, and I say this cautiously, with the government in Nigeria. There's little or no hope. Everybody is scared. If Mr. President went to his hometown, whether planned for or not planned for these guys to have gone there to take over 300 children, do you know how many minutes that will take?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I ask you about the question, about the response of our security agencies.
Man, it shows the unseriousness with which we are addressing this issue. It shows the lack of interest in the.
Because it will take minutes to pack 520 boys.
It's not minutes. It is not going to be minutes. Because those boys will not just fold their arms. They will be running at a scatter. On what did they pack them? I was told on motorcycles.
And buses.
And buses. And within that period of time, there could not be anybody who will make a phone call to somebody else, and somebody else will make a phone call, and there will be the what do you call it? The Air Force being on air to locate
area surveillance.
Area surveillance. My dear, we are not a serious country, and that is the truth. All I can say, my heart goes to the parents, because I can imagine what the parents will be feeling at this moment. For us to talk about a serious government in this country as at now, my rating is -0 for what we're doing. Oh, somebody will come and say, Enikuomehin, you are too harsh. Come on, life does not have a duplicate. Those children that were taken in Chibok, some of them were seen. Those that were not seen, almost 5-6 years back now, where are they? They're gone. This one that have been taken, you think all of them will come back? If we need to put all the resources in Nigeria and stop all this junketing, and we put all the resources, all the budget for the year, to say this year, no education planning, nothing whatsoever. We want to secure our country. So be it.
Okay, because of our time, let's quickly turn to the issue of the inability of the president to honor the invitation of the House of Representatives last Thursday. Like I said earlier, I spoke with the vice chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence. That is Honorable Adejoro Adeogun. Let's quickly listen to him.
Well, I think the House held plenary on Tuesday last week was nearly rowdy because it was the aftermath of the incident in Borno involving some farmers. And the House passed a resolution that the president should be invited. It wasn't a summons. I mean, I want you to mind the word. Should be invited to come to the parliament to explain to Nigerians what was really happening, and to at least explain remedies. I think the whole idea was to reassure Nigerians, to give confidence to Nigerians about what he was doing. And Mr. President graciously accepted that he will come. He wrote a letter to that effect, a letter signed by his chief of staff, specifying date and time. He didn't come on Thursday, but as we speak, no letter has been written to say he will not come. Now, because the parliament operates under certain situations, we do not operate based on what someone says in the media.
I mean, I'm very sure that the Attorney General is not the spokesperson for the President. When the President wrote his letter, it was not the Attorney General that wrote the letter, it was the Chief of Staff. So if he will not come, I'm sure the Chief of Staff will write another letter to the Parliament. Okay. But besides that, I think there are a lot of things that are being done to ensure that everybody understands everybody, that this is in the best interest of Nigeria.
At the meeting of the APC governors with the President, we learned that the governors insisted that the President should not honor the invitation, and that it could turn out to be embarrassing, that some members of the PDP who are members of the House of Representatives are planning to embarrass the President. And then we saw the statement from Malami. What is the general mood in the House of Representatives regarding the position of the governors and, of course, that of the Attorney General, Malami?
You see, I would rather not dwell on the realm of speculation. I did not attend the meeting of the governor with the President, but I did attend a meeting of the governor with the APC caucus of the House. And I think what I could take from all that is that there's a general understanding that APC should work together. There should not be no division between APC members, whether in the executive or in the legislative arm of the government. I think that's the whole idea.
I was invited the President. Hello. I was inviting the President amount to division within the APC.
No, it was because some members of PDP tried to reroute the Parliament into an agenda that was not originally part of the parliamentary agenda.
Okay.
At the time the resolution was passed, it was intended to actually to get the President to come speak with Parliament and use that avenue to address Nigerians. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the President addressing Nigerians. I think where it went wrong was some PDP members, the PDP member of the House of Reps, coming out and, talking about impeachment. And the PDP now started playing on that. So it was that is actually what generated fear among the APC government. It was because PDP went beyond the intention of the Parliament. The intention was not to embarrass the President, and I can say it actually that would not support any action that is intended to embarrass the President of Nigeria.
I don't know if you have had some insinuations in some quarters that members of the APC in the National Assembly seem to be putting party before national interest.
No, I don't think so. You see, at every point in time, national interest is dynamic. You've got to ask yourself, addressing the security situation in Nigeria is in the national interest.
Yes.
But anything intended to jeopardize our democracy will not be in the national interest. The action that was prepared by the PDP members will not be in the national interest. And I don't think whether we're APC or PDP should support any action that will undermine national security at this point in time. Anybody raising a speculation about impeachment of the President now is not speaking for Nigeria.
But I've read statements from some of them, some members of the PDP, some of your colleagues on the platform of the PDP in the House of Representatives, saying that they had no intention of embarrassing the President.
Good. Did they condemn what their colleague said? Their member, the PDP member who raised the issue, did any of them come out to say that you were not speaking for us?
Let's talk security a bit. You are the Vice Chairman of the Committee on National Security and Intelligence. The President, as we speak, is in Katsina, and some students of Government Science College, where the school was invaded, we learned that some of them were abducted. We hear so many stories like these across the country, even in Ondo State, where you come from. Apart from the killing of the traditional ruler and some other issues that happened, the kidnapping of the wife of the Chief of Staff, this week, Aspen attacked men of the Amotekun, seeing that is an Akure North local government. When you hear all of these things, how does it make you feel? Do you think that the effort being made by the federal government that the effort is enough to contain security in this country?
I feel sad and disturbed about what's happening. And then you see, security is not about effort; it's about outcome. It's like if a house is on fire and you say you're making effort, pouring water and the house is still burning. The effort will not be good enough until you quench the fire. So I think until we're able to resolve the security challenges facing us as a nation, no effort being made will be considered enough. I'm sure the federal government is making a lot. I'm sure the executive is doing a lot to address the security challenges. But for as long as we still face this level of insecurity, it will be considered inadequate. Forward, what we need to do is we need to invest more in the training and equipping of the police.
It's our solution. We must get the police to be capable of dealing with the issues of police.
Okay, that was Honorable Adejoro Adeogun, Vice Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence. That phone interview happened on Saturday. That was why I referred to the attack on Amotekun men as happening this week. That means it actually happened last week, but that phone interview with him happened on Saturday. Let me turn to Barrister Enikuomehin. Let's quickly talk about a statement from the Attorney General of the Federation. He quoted Section 218, subsection 1. Let me quickly read that to you. The power of the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation shall include power to determine the operational use of the armed forces of the Federation. So what he said in that statement is that the President does not share the operational use of the armed forces with the National Assembly, and that they do not have any power to summon the President. Even though the House of Representatives has said that they did not summon the President, they only invited him. And some of those members have quoted Section 89 of the Nigerian, subsection 89, subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution. Let me read that as well. For the purpose of any investigation under Section 88 of this Constitution and subject to the provisions thereof, the Senate or the House of Representatives or a committee appointed in accordance with Section 62 of this Constitution shall have power to procure all such evidence, written, oral, direct or circumstantial, as it may think necessary or desirable, and examine all persons as witnesses whose evidence may be material or relevant to the subject matter. What is your take on this back and forth? I've read a lot of back and forth between senior advocates of Nigeria. I've read that of Femi Falana. I've read those who are also backing Malami. What is your take on this?
Well, I believe that there is, or there should be, a President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and on whose table
the buck stops.
The buck stops. Where the President has somebody else who can give him instruction as to what should be done or not to be done, it means the President is subject to that individual. In other words, the President therefore becomes not final. The buck does not end at the table of the President. It ends at the table of the person who directs, controls the President to do A, B, C, or D.
No, was Malami directed, or he was only trying to interpret the law, the Constitution?
Just a moment. By the provision of Section 88(1).
Okay.
It says, subject to of the Constitution, rather, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, each house of the National Assembly shall have power by resolution published in its journal or in the official gazette of the government of the Federation to direct or cause to be directed an investigation into any matter, or things with respect to which it has power
to make laws,
and the conduct of affairs of any person, authority, ministry, government department charged or intended to be charged with the duty of or responsibility for executing or administering laws enacted by the National Assembly and disbursing or administering monies appropriated or to be appropriated by the National Assembly. Simply put, what Malami has referred to in Section 2181 is not in any conflict whatsoever with the decision of the National Assembly by resolution, either of the houses, Senate or House of Rep. They are not contending with Mr. President on the operational use of the armed forces. If you look at that section, 218.1, the powers of the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation shall include power to determine the operational use of the armed forces of the Federation. They are not coming to say, we want to share that power with you. All they need to do, we want to ask you what is happening in our country. Tell us.
So you're saying Malami misapplied that?
Oh no,
that section of the Constitution.
Absolutely. It is mischief. Absolutely. And for the president to have written to the National Assembly by saying, I will be coming
through his chief of staff, by Adeogun.
Yes, I will be coming to listen to you. It means, as of today, somebody came and gave interpretation. That person is the boss of the president. No, you may like the words I have used or not. The person who is able to control the president not to do what he intended to do.
How did that man to control him?
No, whoever, you see, when you give instruction and somebody says you can't do it and you don't do it, that's your boss. Malami has taken over the helm of affairs.
Let's not get into
that. No, my brother. We may not get there, but this is the truth. The president, not verbally, through writing, through the chief of staff, wrote to the national.
And he has not written another letter to say he was not coming.
No, but the day he said he was coming, he didn't come. He should have given reason why he didn't come. But you see, my people say the witch cried yesterday and the small child dies today. Definitely you will infer that is the cry of the witch. Malami came and said the president cannot come by this provision of section 218, which he misapplied absolutely. And the president didn't go. Malami is the boss.
Okay, let's quickly, like I said, I also spoke with the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, that is Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, this morning on this same issue and, of course, the insecurity in the country. Let's listen to him.
When the president did not honor the invitation of the House of Representatives last Thursday, your party said the president did not have anything to tell Nigerians. Why did you say that?
Well, Mr. President came to office on a promise that he was coming to fight insurgency and restore our country to normalcy. He also made other promises. But it's almost 6 years down the line. There is no improvement. Our insecurity situation is worsening by the day. So what will he tell Nigerians? And as we all know, the members of the National Assembly are representatives of you and I, of every Nigerian. So if we come to the dance of the National Assembly and he's standing before Nigerians, what does he have to tell Nigerians? Nothing, absolutely nothing. So that is why he dodged. So all this claim that, governor said it should not go, National Assembly said it should not go, they are just made up, they are spin.
What about the insinuation that members of your party in the House of Representatives planning to embarrass the president?
It's not correct. It's totally and absolutely incorrect. Mr. President would have stood, if he took that honor and that opportunity to address Nigerians, he would have stood before every Nigerian. And I can assure you, no member of our party, we are too disciplined as a party. Our members are too disciplined than to attack Mr. President or to boo him. It's not correct. These are things.
What do you think about the position of the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, who said the president does not have to share the operational insight of the armed forces with anybody, and that the House of Representatives has no power to summon the president?
I'm not a lawyer, but if you had followed the conversations, you will have seen that experts in the area of law has told the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, that his assertions were incorrect. And the AGM is not a court. If you stop making pronouncements, it's not a court.
Or don't you think that it would be inappropriate for the president to stand before the National Assembly or, on live TV and be discussed the operations of the armed forces? Would it not be counterproductive?
Nobody has said that the president should come and discuss the operations of the military. Nobody has said that. All Mr. President needs to do is to go before Nigerians and provide hope. This is what is lacking in our nation today. We don't have a hope giver. We don't have a leader. We don't have somebody who is talking to us. We don't have an in-charge president who is telling us, Nigerians, that this is the effort that we have made. things will get better. We are on autopilot, and the People's Democratic Party has been emphasizing on this since 2016.
We're still dealing with the issue of Chibok, and then, after that, Dapchi, and then now Kankara, the one that happened on Friday in Katsina State. As an opposition party, your job is not just to criticize, but to also provide suggestions, offer suggestions of alternatives. What suggestion would you offer as to how to approach the issue of insecurity in Nigeria?
First and foremost, we have told Mr. President as a party that if you kept general at work fund for 5 years, going down the line 6 years now, and you are not getting progress, that you should rejig that security architecture and bring in possible better hands that can manage the situation. Did Mr. President listen to the People's Democratic Party? Because that is the first step. When your generals become war fatigue, what you should do is to change those. It's just a matter of strategy and military tactics.
Okay, that was excerpts of the conversation I had with the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP this morning. That is Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan. Let me turn to Zadok. It seems that from all the people I've spoken with, they seem to agree that the service chiefs should go. Do you also share the same opinion that they've not done well and they should be pushed out?
Obviously, I align with the position of majority of Nigerians that if you have given somebody a job and he has not been able to effectively discharge that responsibility, you should allow him to go and rest and give someone else. But it's beyond just the service chiefs. I personally believe that they should go, but it's just beyond them. It's about the decay of the Nigerian military over the last 15 years. It's about the fact that the Nigerian military is no longer as formidable as it used to be.
Battle ready as it used to be.
It's no longer battle ready. When the military heads were there, that was their first constituency. And they ensured that the Nigerian military was top of its game. But the Nigerian military has been politicized to the point where somebody is absolutely unable to discharge his responsibility, but for political expediency, you ask that he should be kept there. Let me quickly make a comment on the president, the issue of whether the president was going to be embarrassed. If our children are kidnapped, the president should not be thinking about himself being embarrassed as a condition for not coming to speak with the Nigerians. It's absolutely unacceptable. You see, what I think is a challenge that we have is that we put political tone or an air of political consideration to things that are very important. It's not about PDP or APC, and I'm sure that when the terrorists got to that place, they didn't ask the children, which political party do your fathers belong to? They packed everybody. When kidnappers meet you between here and Okene, they don't ask you what party, bring your party card. It's either they shoot you first, they push you into the bush, they don't even want to care. So for anybody to think that a president of a country that is supposed to be subject to the people's representatives, and I do say that without any apology, a president in a country heads the executive arm of that government. His job is to execute on behalf of the people projects and actions determined by the people. How do the people determine it? Through their representatives in the National Assembly. Why is it that the president has to carry his budget to the National Assembly to receive their to receive their consent before he executes? No president is a god. And I do say it, no Nigerian president is a god. But there is a challenge we have, in that we have few people who will speak clearly to authority. For any attorney general to concede or agree or advise that the president should not approach Nigerians at a time where Nigeria is almost insecure, almost ungovernable. I was in Abuja on Tuesday. If you know the headache I went through to make sure that I didn't pass through the major road linking the southwest to the north, which is through Akoko land, through Okene to Lokoja. Go and pass through that road. It's a national embarrassment to any country, to any nation. And then somebody will tell me the president should not be embarrassed. Who should be embarrassed when people's children are taken away? Who? Me? Or the parents who are probably in tumult at the moment because their children are suffering in the bush? Why is it that we have so many military people following the chief of army staff, following the service chiefs all around? But these service chiefs are not achieving the purposes for which they were employed in the first place. Security of Nigeria. And then you find Nigeria is so porous. People are, let me tell you something. I said something, I was thinking something before you asked me this question. If I was a terrorist and I needed to take over a place like Nigeria, I would infiltrate the entire country. That is the reason why, to preempt that's the reason why you have the DSS. You have the security architecture to gather information ahead.
That was mentioned intelligence capability.
The capacity of DSS seems to be limited to the show of power of jumping up and down in their vehicles, because nobody in Katsina, where the president was visiting and had only arrived for less than 5 hours,
it appeared there was no intel.
There was no intelligence at all. So for them to have been, what a normal country would do would have been to sack the DSS head, to sack everybody, because it's a national embarrassment.
No, the president. That is not an embarrassment. It's when you go to National Assembly.
That one is not something to be ashamed of.
Why the president was home?
The president,
2 hours 37 minutes drive away.
They were kidnapping almost 600
where the president
children.
Was.
No, that does not amount to embarrassment.
It's not an embarrassment. But for the president to stand in the National Assembly to talk is an embarrassment.
To talk to Nigeria.
I think our representatives, I'm not talking about my political party, I'm talking about all representatives in the House of Assembly, in this National Assembly, are focused more on their personal benefits. We must all gather together, whether you are APC or PDP or whatever political party at this time, to save Nigerians. The flight from Akure to Abuja, which is just about 40 minutes, is 60,000. The least you will get now is 44,000. That's a journey we were taking with 2,500 naira from Shasha. Let me quickly say, on the flight to Abuja, you know the people that were in the plane with me, they were ordinary people like you and I. No VIP on that plane. It shows you how dangerous we are. The insecurity we are living with.
Okay, Mr. Benson, Enikuomehin, our time is fast spent. Can you see? Just in 10 seconds.
In a second. I am sad this country is the way they are. The people at the helm of affairs should sit down and leave politics aside and let President Muhammad Buhari go and do the needful.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benson. Enikuomehin, thank you very much for coming on the Roundtable. Mr. Zadok, Akintoye, thank you very much for coming on the Roundtable. My name is Major Daniels, and this is where we end it today. Thank you very much for listening.
Is a good thing, but with the attendant intricacies and the many sound bites, it gets confusing. At Adaba 88.9 FM, it is our job to sift through the noise, helping you make sense of it all. This is why we welcome you to our world, where we help make politicians accountable to you.